Good day, everybody. We're at 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 17. And Samuel called the people together unto the Lord to Mizpah, and said unto the children of Israel, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of all kingdoms, and of them who oppressed you. Note, Samuel points out in his address to the assembled people that God always had done for them the very thing for which they desired, a king, They wished for deliverance from the Philistines, but their deliverance by Jehovah had been made dependent upon their own conduct. They were required to repent of their sins and to purge the land from idolatry before victory could be theirs, and what they actually wanted was national independence, freed from this condition of repentance, and so on and so forth, and secured by an organization of their military resources. Well, obviously, this puts a very big damper on what God wants to do. Verse 19. And you have this day rejected your God. Notes, Samuel points it right back in their faces. Scripture. Who himself saved you out of all your adversities and your tribulations, and you have said unto him, No, but set a king over us. Now therefore present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your thousands. Notes, even though what they desired and in fact demanded was so wrong, but yet God would grant their request, it being a law of His providence to leave men free to choose. Come on. You want it? Well, if you choose to do something, God will let you do it, being the gentleman that He is. Verse 20. And when Samuel had caused all the tribes of Israel to come near, the tribe of Benjamin was taken. Note, the Lord pointed out the tribe to Samuel, which Samuel already knew, but which was done for the sake of these people. Verse 21. When he had caused the tribe of Benjamin to come near by their families, the family of Matri was taken, and Saul the son of Kish was taken, and when they sought him, he could not be found. Note, in all of this we find that Saul was the greatest work of the flesh that could be found, and yet, even as we shall see, it was woefully insufficient, as it is always woefully insufficient. Well, look at how big a boy I am. Whatever. Verse 22. Therefore they inquired of the Lord further, if the man should yet come thither. And the Lord answered, Behold, he has hid himself among the stuff. Notes. Now, notice right here at the very beginning, Saul's humility, it's actually commendable. But regrettably, it would not remain this way. As a matter of fact, he takes a very drastic turn for the worse. Verse 23. And they ran and fetched him thence. And when he stood among the people, he was higher than any of the people from his shoulders and upward. Note, now, as stated, he looked every bit a king, but still it was just a work of the flesh, because this is not God's way, but rather the way of man. It would fail, as all such always fails, but regrettably most of the church would base their judgment on what can be seen outwardly. Verse 24. And that's my dog hacking on a hairball. I really wish he would get better. Anyways, verse 24. And Samuel said to all the people, See ye him whom the Lord has chosen, that there is none like him among all the people. And all the people shouted and said, God save the king. Notes, the lesson of the flesh is not easily learned. Even the great prophet Samuel would have to learn this particular lesson. He too was very enamored with Saul, but would find to his dismay that no matter the effort made, they who are in the flesh cannot, and they will not please God. Romans chapter 8, verse 8. There's also a verse, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it basically says, without faith it is impossible to please God. Well, we're going to see just how good a job King Saul does. Verse 25. Then Samuel told the people of the manner of the kingdom, and wrote it in a book, and laid it up before the Lord. And Samuel sent all the people away, every man to his house. And Saul also went home to Gibeah, and there with him a band of men whose hearts God had touched. Notes: the Lord not only gave Saul a new heart, but those around him a touched heart as well. And as stated, every effort was being made to make this thing work. Verse 27. But the children of Belial, meaning the worthless ones, said, How shall this man save us? And they despised him and brought him no presents, but he held his peace. Notes: even though it was not the will of God for Israel at this time to have a king, still what these men did was very wrong, and the Holy Spirit noted this by referring to them as worthless. Well, because that's what that word Belial actually means. Chapter 11. Then Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh-Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said unto Nahash, Make a covenant with us, and we will serve you. Notes: the Ammonites, they were the old enemies of the Israelites, alleging that Israel had taken possession of territory east of the Jordan, which rightfully belonged to them. Sounds familiar, kind of, doesn't it, on the news? But anyways, that happened in Judges chapter 11, verse 13. Well, this is the land of our ancient forefathers, blah, 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 whatever. But anyways, after their defeat by Jephthah, their power was so broken that they allowed a century to elapse before they ventured again to assert their claim. Jabesh-Gilead was a city on the eastern side of Jordan in the tribe of Manasseh. Now the name Nahash means bright shining serpent. Jabesh-Gilead means hill of witnessing. Satan will encamp against us to destroy our witness. If we make a covenant with him, even as the men of Jabesh tried to do, our witness will be destroyed. No covenant of any fashion can be made with Satan and get positive results. Even if he tells the truth to you, it's only going to lead to a bigger lie, and thus he is constantly referred to as the father of lies. Never forget that. The lies of the devil, or the truth of the devil, will actually lead to a bigger lie. Verse 2. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, On this condition will I make a covenant with you, that I may thrust that I may thrust out all your right eyes, and lay it for a reproach upon all Israel. Notes: men in those days fought behind a shield with the top covering their face, with the exception of their right eye. That being put out, they could not see to actually fight. Consequently, they would be a reproach. Well, regrettably, most of the modern church little sees how to fight because their right eye has been blinded. They have made a covenant with Satan, which means they are preaching everything except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 23. Believe me, folks, I've been in this fight for a long time. Long enough to know that there are very few real good churches that preach the Jesus Christ and Him crucified method, which is God's prescribed order for victory. Everything from drugs to psychology to humming into crystals to getting in contact with your angels and whatnot. Well, the cross has a nasty way of getting rid of self-righteousness and human efforts, because the truth of the matter is your righteousness is self-righteousness, my righteousness, your righteousness, and everyone else's righteousness is what produced Jesus Christ going to the cross. That's how truly righteous a man is. And we must pick up in chapter 11, what was it? We'll go ahead and start out at verse 3. I think that's where I left off. Anyways, chapter 11, verse 3. Thank you, and God bless.